What's up, guys? So if you don't know, I'm kind of a big Tom and Jerry fan, both in MultiVersus and out of MultiVersus, and the game's been out long enough, I decided it's time to do a guide. So this will be the guide on how to play Tom and Jerry. I will mainly be telling you exactly what moves you should be using, when you should be using them, why, a bunch of setups, cool combos, not cool combos, really cool combos, and everything in between. It'll also be perks, good team comps, stuff like that. So first things first, why Tom and Jerry? They're cool. They're probably the coolest in the entire game. That's really all you need. But in actual reasoning, they're a very great zoner. They have really good combos. They probably have the best keep away game now that the game is where it's at. But I mean, the Jerry combos just go insane. It's super fun to play them. Honestly, I think they're just really fun to play. Let's start off with combos. So this paddle move is probably your best combo move in existence. It has a ton of hits. It's active for a long time. If you hit any part of it, you can usually try to get a combo off of it. There's two ways to combo off of paddle. One is you let the last hit happen, which if you let the last hit happen, you can get side air or you can get up air. A little DI dependent, so you might have to react. But the super OP thing is you can cancel it by jumping, and you can get a confirm off of this. By the way, the paddle is the grounded up attack. So this is up when you're grounded. So if you cancel it by jumping, you kind of get a bunch of different combos, even something like this. While normally, if you happen to let it finish, you can usually only get the side air or the up air. You can get a rocket sometimes, but as you can tell, it's like a little slower. Kind of not really worth going for. But yeah, being able to get a canceled paddle into the rocket actually leads into some pretty sick situations, making it to where Tom can just kind of use this to combo anybody in the cast. The next best thing to combo with is the tried and true Tom and Jerry classic, Jerry Shot. If you've ever heard me talk about this move, it is what I think is one of the greatest moves to exist in platform fighters. Jerry is an active hitbox the entire time he is flying. Not only that, projectiles in this game usually have a property where you will fly in the direction the momentum is. So if you notice, if I do like this paddle into a downwards Jerry shot, Shaggy will go down. Do the paddle into like a jump horizontal Jerry shot, Shaggy goes sideways. So a big thing with the Jerry shot is you just want to shoot it down. That way you can get a ton of confirms off of the ground bounce. If you're not really sure how I'm doing this, Jerry shot is neutral special, and there is a neutral special bind in the settings. I have mine set to left bumper, so I can jump with my triangle, I jump with my pointer finger, and then I hold down, and I shoot Jerry shot with the trigger. That way you can just get quick and easy angled down Jerry shots. The ground bounce just makes it really, really strong. You can even go from the Jerry shot into the paddle, which honestly, if you're not doing that, you should be doing that a little more. Because again, paddle is just one of your greatest hit confirming moves. So with this in mind, Jerry shot being like as good as it is, it's a pretty good way to open up neutral. You don't really want to walk at people trying to hit them with the paddle. Jerry shot is a little more consistent. You can hit it from a ton of angles. It's a projectile, so you're not really putting yourself at danger. You're putting Jerry at danger, which is perfectly fine. You're gonna have to put Jerry in some danger if you want to benefit with this character. So lastly, the last combo move is Tom's pan. So the pan is Tom's aerial down attack. Very, very good button. If you've ever seen old MultiVersus footage, you know that this into this is just the oyster. It's the world of Tom and Jerry. If you've ever seen it, you should know for sure how good this move is. Now this move, it kind of doesn't combo as well as it used to. When you hit somebody with it, it's really hard to land afterwards. So you can't do like pan into jump something, but you can simply just float, do pan into like Jerry shot. You notice we kind of comboed everything there: pan, Jerry shot, and the paddle. So those three are your biggest comboing moves. I mean, let me show you some examples. Right? So that does work. right? Kind of a nice little mini loop. A little harder to actually convert is what I would say, but I fought a Tom and Jerry today that was hitting me really consistently with paddle to down air. So I say definitely try it out. Another thing you can do is you can jump cancel the 4th hit of the paddle into a downwards angle Jerry shot. It's your go-to. This is a good one. Right, just for some examples, give you something in your mind to think about. Now, that can be a little harder if your opponent happens to be just really, really light, or maybe the combo doesn't work too well. You can always do like this into a side air. It can work pretty well. Kind of not a great example there, but you know, my Jerry's dead. Another thing you can do when it comes to this paddle move, if you want to cancel the last hit, you can jab. Now, it doesn't seem that good. I don't think Tom's jab is a fantastic move. A little better in 2s. But you can cancel jab into your grounded down attack, which is this little pounce. Now, this little pounce is going to be one of your biggest moves to kill with. Tom doesn't really have moves that send that far, at least not like horizontally. So being able to have an option off of hitting the paddle, pretty good. When it comes to killing with Tom, there's a few things that I like to look for personally. We kind of showed this a little earlier, where you have to do a paddle into the jump Jerry rocket into a dodge jumped up air. If you don't know, dodge jump will make you fly pretty far in comparison to a normal double jump. So with this confirmed, usually you do need a dodge jump up air. If you don't dodge jump up air, you are not going to get remotely close to Shaggy. Instead, it'll look something like this, which it can work if they happen to be like DIing in, but for the most part, you do want to use your meter for that combo. Another thing you can do, which is pretty nice, is you could do that combo. A little harder to get. I've been having some issues with the entire, like, just getting the Jerry shot to the down air at later percents is really hard. It can also be a little harder if people are holding like really hard away. But then you can do something like that, where you do a paddle into a reverse Jerry shot in order to get the full combo. Outside of that, Tom really doesn't have a lot of killing combos. I like doing that if I can get them literally at the edge. Because that ends up killing a lot of people. It's really good, especially if you catch somebody without a jump or really low on resources. And if they don't die, you can go off and try to edge guard them with the ban. Alright, now that we've talked about all the combos and such, I think it's time we talk about the advantage state. When it comes to advantage state with Tom, there's a lot of ways to put it. Tom's up air is just an amazing move. If anybody's ever above Tom, you know, up air is just a great move to try to either kill them, rack up more damage. There's a lot you can do with that. On the flip side, if you happen to hit somebody off stage, his down air is just a really great tool to make it so they can't really recover low. I think this computer will always recover high. Ooh. So Tom kind of just has a great move to be under people, a great move to be over people. There's a lot that he does have going for him. When it comes to edge guarding, you can always try to use Jerry in order to like set up edge guards. Or you can just try to do like a barrage of projectiles, as Tom's projectiles are just really strong. Right? You can make people jump. You can try to force them into like a weirder spot, make them go low. So Tom's advantage state, I think, is pretty simple. Just because you have such big buttons, it's a lot easier to pilot it. Just make sure you're not running around like this, I think, is the biggest tip that I can give. The more you run around like this, it's a pretty good move. It does combo into like literally everything. But when you use it, you're stuck for so long. And if you miss the initial hit, it's really hard to hit a lot of characters. Oh, surprisingly, that hit really well. Just make sure you find your way to win neutral, which, again, winning neutral, this move's really good. Personally, I like using Dare a lot. A lot of characters in this game are very strong horizontally, like Shaggy. Shaggy might do like a Shaggy kick or maybe even a jab. And I think it's a lot better to be above people in comparison to being on the side of them, because Tom's horizontal options are not that good. Tom's vertical options are really good. So try your best to be above people, find a way to open up neutral, and then just work from there. So when it comes to covering people on the, like, edge, because some people will recover low like this, right? This happens a lot. I like putting a mousetrap here. If they're at kill percent, just put a mousetrap there. They're going to get hit by it. It's really hard to avoid. And if you have Jerry, you can put a mousetrap there and do this. If they go around the mousetrap, they're going to get hit by you Jerry shotting them. And if they get hit by the mousetrap, you can just dodge. You can just dodge and just try to catch them. Mousetrap does have a few uses, and I think that's one of the best. So make sure to use it if you have a lot of space and your opponents are just off stage. So disadvantage. This is the part where Tom's life is really, really bad. Tom sucks when he gets hit. So when you get hit off stage as Tom, there's a few ways to recover, right? One thing to note, always try to use attacks to stall your fall. If you don't use attacks to stall your fall, you will probably die a lot sooner than you want to. Just this way, it gives you a lot more options. So if you know about that, then you can go to layer 2. Layer 2, dynamite stalls you a lot, and it gives you a projectile to fight back with. This is a lot better with single dynamite, but triple dynamite is still good in this situation, as it'll push back a ton of opponents in comparison to just the one. The other thing, if you don't know, you can always do like dodge attacks. Dodge attacks will give you a good amount of momentum. It'll make it so you can recover pretty nicely. If you notice, like, the distance a dodge attack goes versus the distance a dodge goes. Two very different things. Make sure to mix in dodge attacks when it comes to recovering. And 3, always remember, you still have dodge jumps. Dodge jumps are still really good. Another way to use your momentum or use your meter. Albeit, sometimes you can just blow up for doing it. So don't do it a whole lot. There's a few other things Tom can do. This one's really important. Tom only has 2 specials, like a typical character. But Tennis Ball will reset your momentum every time you use it. So if you're kind of worried, let's say, oh man, I used both of my jumps. I used both of my dodges. And I'm a little worried I can't make it back to the stage. Tennis Ball, make it back. Depending on how many you have, will, depend on how far you go. So that stuff is pretty important. I say take note of that, because it saved my life way more times than I can count. The other really important thing, which this is something that I've been doing a lot, take note of which attacks of Tom's retain momentum off of dodge attack. So like dodge side air, really good. Really good. It makes it so Tom keeps flying. Really, really good. Right? Up air, also really good. He keeps the momentum not as much as side air, but he still keeps a lot of it. Down air, really bad. Don't dodge attack down air if you want to recover, or even to a degree like chasing people a lot. Not that good. Don't do that. If you happen to be over here and you don't have any jumps, you can try to use your dodges as like a jump, you know, because you can dodge and still attack with it and move pretty far. Of course, not when you're burned up. Last thing to note, which this is really important, if you do a dodge jump, which dodge jumps are already really good, you get a lot of momentum. Tom's up special will retain that dodge jump momentum. So if you're ever worried about being like super far in disadvantage and you're not worried about getting caught, you can use a dodge, a jump, and a special to go pretty far. And like, this is like really big. It's even good in general with just Tom's up special, and it helps a lot when it comes to recovering. Now, if you notice, I didn't really mention fishing rod. I think fishing rod is good for recovering, but a lot worse than what it used to be. The thing about fishing rod is you can't cancel it. And while it does like have a hitbox like kind of high, so if somebody's near the ledge, you might be able to hit them. Tom will always travel in roughly the same like trajectory. He'll always go like a very short amount of distance horizontally, a little under the fishing rod. So a lot of people, if they are edge guarding you, it can be because you're giving them a free chance with fishing rod. I think if you have nobody next to you, going for a fishing rod is pretty worth it. Otherwise, I don't think it's too hot. So I'm not a big fishing rod guy. I think everything I mentioned before is a lot more important. So take note of that. I could be wrong. There's a fishing rod perk that helps a lot with recovering specifically, but I feel like it runs into the same issues of I can't cancel fishing rods, so as soon as I throw it out, I have to travel that trajectory. Okay, so the next thing is movement. I think movement with Tom is pretty strange. I mentioned it earlier. I don't think Tom's ground movement is very, very good. He has pretty good stats. I think him moving left and right is good. But the idea is that I don't really have very many threats when it comes to ground movement. So I'm not a fan of Tom being on the ground. Especially a lot of characters in this game have really good jabs. Tom's jab isn't that good. It's really big. It's good in twos. But I've had situations where my jab 2 just doesn't connect. And I think a big part of that, like, you know, this move has a lot of setup. This move's pretty good. And this move is mainly for reflecting tennis balls. So I think Tom's ground movement in general, the stats itself is really good, but everything around it I think is pretty bad. So I think it's better to not really move on the ground. Being in the air, a lot more solid. So I would say just get more comfortable moving in the air, just in general. And I do have a few movement tricks. One thing, Tom's jumps aren't that good. So I actually like using my dodges as like a third jump, because it's a good bait. Like, oh no, I don't have any of my jumps left. Well, let me dodge up. For some other characters, I don't think it would be worth it. But again, Tom's best moves, in my opinion, are his downwards moves. So it's good for Tom to be above people. So try to use your dodges as like a pseudo third jump. In my opinion, I think it's pretty good. Not only that, using your dodges to find down airs, really important. But Void, you told us not to dodge attack down air, right? Let's say I'm right here, like left foot on this line, and I go for dodge attack down air. I can't hit him. But, and here's where it gets fun. If you dodge jump down air, it's a whole lot better. It goes way, way farther. It makes it so you can actually use down air to start opening people up. I think Tom has really good ways to use meter, both defensively and offensively, that kind of promotes what the game has to offer. When Tom's in burnout, there's not a lot for him to do. You kind of just run and pray. This goes back to the fact that, you know, tennis balls are really good to stall your momentum. You don't have a bunch of invuln, you can't dodge jump around, but just try to find your openings when you can. Dynamite being out is really solid. It kind of just stalls. A lot of people will wait for it. You can just use dynamite to buy time. Nothing wrong with that. And again, using a tennis ball when you're just above somebody can be really good. Speaking of tennis balls, let's go into tennis ball setups. So tennis ball has a very specific amount of setups. Not really. It's pretty free flowy. You can just find it out as much as you can. The main gist, shoot a tennis ball when Jerry is out. Jerry will hit it, and then you hit it with your neutral attack. They're not crazy fast, but the threat is that you can send out a ton. So, you know, let's say I have Jerry right here, right? You send out 3, send out 4. You can send out a bunch. But the way to get them is pretty important. One thing I like doing, if you just shoot Jerry right in front of you and you do 2, you can get 3. If you shoot Jerry in front of you, but like kind of down, 2 tennis balls, do 1 racket, and then do 2 rackets. Pretty simple setup. You can even do it with just 1 tennis ball. Just that way you get 1 on the first one, and then you get 2 on the second one. Very solid. Now, if you notice, I'm reflecting more than just the tennis balls. When Jerry is out, he has these quirks. On his own, he has 3. If he's attached to a teammate, he gets 5. So this will happen every time you send him out. And the thing about these quirks is they are reflectable. Jerry will also constantly hit any tennis ball he runs into. So if you don't want to send the tennis ball out immediately, and you just want to have Jerry play ping pong with himself, you can do that. I like doing up special in the air. This little rocket. Because if you do this little rocket and you shoot tennis balls at him, they all kind of land pretty around the same time. So you can get like pretty simple, there's like triple tennis ball setups. Very differing heights. There's a lot that goes on there. That's definitely my favorite setup when it comes to using tennis balls. Super simple. You use all your tennis balls at once, so you don't have to worry about like, oh, yo, I still have 2, so let's try setting up again. Not like that. Literally just do this and just try to get all of them. See what you can get. This is where Tom's strength lies. Tom's strength, in my opinion, lies in his ability to push people horizontally with Jerry Shot, tennis balls, dynamite, and of course himself. So if you have good tennis ball setups, you can play pretty far back, which ultimately, you know, playing pretty far back will even open up using fishing rod. So fishing rod has a few things to it. One, if I'm not mistaken, it does more the farther you are from the opponent. So if you can get really far fishing rods, super worth. But the thing with that, it moves based on how you hold it. So if you throw the fishing rod out and you hold back, it doesn't go that far. You hold forward, it goes really far. Awesome. Now, the big thing about fishing rod, if you hit somebody with it, it's not that good. It's not that good. So you notice this is doing 7% or 8%. This is not that good. But when you reel in, you see how there's that little area around the fishing rod, right? It's literally like a fishing mini game. If you reel in, it's super strong. So if you're ever trying to do fishing rod stuff, you know, 100%, just try to find your space and always try to get the reel in. Last thing about fishing rod, it pulls back Jerry. I don't know if you guys noticed, it pulls back Jerry. So I've been trying to do this lately, not only just to combo it into itself, like the rocket into the Jerry, but if you try to get the fishing rod too, you cover a high angle, you cover a low angle, and there's a chance you just get Jerry back for free. I say use fishing rod sparingly, a lot more of a 2s button instead of a 1s button. Using it in 1s is just really not that good. Mousetrap. Okay, I talked about Mousetrap a little earlier, about putting it towards the ledge. I think Mousetrap is low-key really, really bad. But let me show you guys the setup. Alright, this involves the combo things that I was telling you guys earlier. Pretty good setup, right? So this setup is actually pretty insane. It kills really early. It's just really hard to get. Because you need to be able to hit like a paddle close to somebody while you have Mousetrap and you're kind of moving towards it. But if you can get it, you can kill people very, very early. Another nice little setup in case you aren't right next to it that I like doing is this. Doing it like that, where you aim the Jerry shot to shoot them into the Mousetrap. That way you can get the confirm at the end. Again, really, really situational. But ultimately, the situations where it's good, it's really good in. But this move just takes so long to set up that I wouldn't recommend using it all the time. Use it if you have as much space in the world and you just don't feel like you can do anything else. I have something here. When to Jerry for swag. So if you've ever watched me play, you've definitely seen like a few Jerry snipes. Because Jerry snipes, very, very big difference in like the really good toms and the not really good toms. Because the pressure that you can output with a Jerry just killing somebody really early off the side, very big deal. Very, 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 very big deal. If you don't know, Tom without Jerry is really bad. He's really, really bad. He doesn't actually, like, you lose one of his fastest options. He doesn't have that many options to box with. A lot of his combos get a lot worse. At least at, like, the earlier percents. People can rush him down really easily because he doesn't have a good jab or, like, a good sider. There's a lot that goes really bad when you don't have Jerry. So don't send Jerry out there a whole lot. I wouldn't recommend it. But there is something that I have been doing lately that I think is super worth going for. If you see an opponent recovering low, and you have a bit of time to do this jump, just this jump, that's it. You do this jump, and you angle Jerry like that. That way, Jerry has a pretty constant spike hitbox almost the whole way down, and you can score a lot of really early kills with that. If you don't get a kill with the banked Jerry shot, then you can just combo off of it with a downer. right? Those are a few things that I would recommend learning. Well, mainly just that. And go for snipes in general. I know I said it's really bad, but it feels really, really good to hit. If you just get one good read and you just get a really good snipe, it would be really good. So it's not always about like playing super duper optimal. Again, I said it at the beginning. I think a big part of playing Tom is that he does feel really cool. When you hit the things with him, it feels awesome. And everything in between, you feel like you got a big brain. So that's sick. Now, lastly, this is going to be talking about perks. So Triple Dynamite is a really, really good Tom perk. He ends up exchanging his 1 dynamite, the single dynamite for 3, which is really sick. I think Triple Dynamite is really good. I think it's amazing, especially when you're fighting characters that have armor, as it just hits multiple times. You don't really have to worry about it. But a few things about Triple Dynamite, I feel like a lot of people will move towards Tom and just do this nice little dodge in conveniently when I start charging my racket. So I think it's pretty tough to use super duper effectively. Not only that, it goes a set distance. So it's a lot more of like a close range tool in comparison to a long range tool. Triple Dynamite is really good when it comes to being in disadvantage, as it covers so much space, right, that it's really hard to edgeguard Tom if he has a dynamite stack available. So I think Triple Dynamite overall really good. However, you just can't use it a whole lot. You have to use it in very specific situations, because you only have 1 stack. You really only have 1. So, with that being said, I've been using a lot of single dynamite lately. Now, if you don't know about single dynamite, you get not 1, not 2, but 3 uses. So you have 3 opportunities for single dynamite to be good. And the OP thing, in comparison to triple dynamite, single dynamite does not have a set distance. Hypothetically, it could fly all the way to the blast zone. And most of the time it will. But it will explode after it bounces twice. 1, 2. But you just see how much distance it covers? Like, I'm all the way on the opposite side of the stage. 1. Like, you can low-key hit confirm with it as Tom. I like it a lot because sometimes I just don't have the time to set up Jerry to do one of Jerry projectiles, because it takes a lot longer. It feels like Tom's a lot less active. But single dynamite, it lets me be active while I'm falling. You can't really set up Jerry while you're falling. You have to be in very specific spots, you know? So single dynamite is very good when it comes to being more active while zoning, being good when you're in disadvantage because you have a lot more ammo. So you have a lot more opportunities to try to cover, and it's not like it covers a lot less than triple dynamite. You still cover the spots that you want to. It's just not as, like, big, but it gets the job done. Other perks in general, I think Tom kind of works really well with a lot of perks, but that's Flammable Dock is really overpowered. If you don't know, its Flammable Dock actually currently works on tennis balls before you reflect them. So that makes your normal tennis balls just a lot stronger. So I think that's definitely the perk for the first slot for Tom, virtually no matter what. I've tried a few other things. I don't think it's really worth it for him. Middle perk, I like Last Stand because I just like staying alive as him. He's a very light character, but he can just play back really well. But Collateral Damage is a little better for Tom's combos. It involves a lot of like ground bouncing. I think Collateral Damage really good. I haven't found any uses for Airwalker because Tom's grounded attacks are just not good. Dash attack, breaking armor could be good in some situations, but Tom's grounded down attack is good enough. But I would say one of these 3, either Collateral Damage, Last Stand, or Speed Force Assist, as having more speed is always a good thing. And the third perk, I like Pugilist, just because a lot of my kill moves are melee. The ultimate moves that you kill people with are melee. There's not something to buff projectiles, otherwise maybe you might take that. But some of the other things might become a little more meta. Fully charged attacks, breaking armor, I don't think is good, unless it counts me fully charging a racket to reflect a projectile, which I don't think it does. And for the electric perk, you're not really on the ground very long. This could be good. I've been trying to lab it out, the refresh all air abilities perk, but ultimately I just think having stronger melee attacks is the answer. And lastly, let's go back and let's talk about team comps. A lot of the things that I mentioned, it was a bit of ones, a bit of twos. You can use it in both. And the thing that makes a Tom comp strong, in my opinion, is the ability to kill horizontally. Tom does have a lot of vertical kill moves. You know, he has the pans, he has the down air, he has the rocket. He has a lot of vertical kill moves, but his strength comes from pushing opponents horizontally. So I think if you have a character that can kill horizontally, it's really good. Preferably somebody who can play in the front. So I don't like playing with Black Adam, for example. He can kind of kill horizontally, but he likes to play more vertically. So I'm not really a big fan of Black Adam to a degree. I don't even like Bugs very much. I think Bugs is a lot better with vertical teammates. Same thing with like Harley. I don't like Harley very much. Steven as well. Steven just messes with your projectiles. Same thing with Marvin. You don't want to get too many projectiles going. Wonder Woman. She's just a great teammate with everybody. You guys already know it's the Evo winning comp. So I think Wonder Woman's really good. I've actually found a lot of success with Superman. Superman just very tanky. He can make up for killing where Tom has a lack of it. So I think Superman is really, really solid. I think Shaggy can work. I haven't really teamed with very many Shaggys, but Shaggy seems like he fits the bill. He's a little more horizontal, but he can take the front very well, and he does have very good horizontal threats. Banana Guard Tom is just insane. It's literally like a ridiculous team comp. Banana Guard kills so strong horizontally, and Tom creates so much pressure that Banana Guard can exist. Banana Guard, not like the fastest character, but if he hits you with his moves, it's really problematic. And Tom creates so much chaos that it works really well. And I'm gonna say, let's say Finn. I like Finn and I like Garnet with the same things. They just have good horizontal pressure. They can benefit a lot off of me pushing people horizontally. And I've had a lot of success playing with both. So that's not to say that Tom can't function with some vertical characters like Joker or Batman. Even I would just say Joker, Batman, or even let's say Bugs. But ultimately, the God Tom comps involve a lot of horizontal pressure. So yeah, ultimately, that's everything you need to know about Tom. From combos, kill combos, what moves to use, what moves not to use. I'm pretty sure I covered everything. If I didn't cover everything, you can mention it in the comments. I'll get around to it. Or you can ask me on the stream. So take care, y'all. See you guys at the next video. Have a good night. Peace.